Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. Today we're going to talk about a new interview that SlasherRadio just did with Mathieu Cote today in regards to new content in Dead by Daylight and Chapter 31. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want more discussion videos like this one recommended to you by YouTube. A big shout out and a big thanks to SlasherRadio for this huge and informative interview with Mathieu Cote. I'm going to link all of SlasherRadio's socials in the description below. Make sure to check out this full interview if you want to be in the know with all of the new content coming to DBD. Mathieu Cote said this in regards to how working with Blumhouse on the Dead by Daylight movie could actually relate to future DLC content in the game.
A lot of people have been asking, and this is going to influence future DLCs for the game. You know, like Blumhouse has an unlimited Megan, Insidious, and then go on forever. Does that partnership with the movie, can it influence? Does it have any legs for influencing and creating groundwork for DLC content in the future?
I mean, anytime we have a partnership with people who own interesting horror licenses, then clearly we're one step closer to those licenses if we wanted to put them into the game. It's
Yes.
a much simpler thing to pick up the phone and call someone that you know, that you have an established relationship with. It's much easier. So if we wanted to do these things, it's something that would absolutely be within our grasp.
It's really interesting to see Mathieu Cote talking so directly about the license holders over there at Blumhouse. This begs the question, could Behavior Interactive actually have some of those Blumhouse IPs in the works right now for future DLC content in the game? Recall that earlier this year, Blumhouse and Atomic Monster actually merged, and these are actually the IPs that they're known for: Paranormal Activity, The Purge, Halloween, The Exorcist, and The Black Phone. Atomic Monster is known for The Conjuring, Insidious, Saw, and Malignant. Blumhouse in general just has such a huge catalog of horror properties to pick from. Could any of these properties actually secretly be in the works for an upcoming chapter in Dead by Daylight? There's one really big reason why it seems entirely possible to me that this could actually be happening behind the scenes. SlasherRadio has done interviews with Mathieu Cote in the past. They asked Mathieu Cote about Stranger Things and if that would ever return into the game, and this is something that Mathieu Cote probably actually had knowledge of when he was answering that question in the interview. He spoke about Stranger Things and the possibility of its return in very vague terms, without really confirming nor denying anything, and that's sort of the same way that he went about answering questions related to the Blumhouse DLCs and DBD. He's not really able to outright say whether something is actually currently in the works. He's also not able to say that nothing is in the works or that nothing would ever happen in the future. Instead, Cote kind of takes this vague, sort of nuanced approach. And to me, that really does suggest that something could potentially be in the works right now. Remember that Behavior works up to 4 chapters in advance, and I'd imagine that the licensing and the contract negotiations are happening a year or farther in advance. So Mathieu Cote would likely know if something from Blumhouse is happening, even if it's way, way down the road.
The other thing also is, sorry, if we were to release a great Dead by Daylight movie in which some new characters are introduced, it would be kind of silly of us not to then introduce them to the game, right?
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to leave it at that.
SlasherRadio also asked Mathieu Cote a question in regards to the Dead by Daylight movie.
Jason Blum kind of spiked the charts a little bit recently, where he said that you guys are still looking for a writer, still looking for a director. That was the
You
status.
looking for a job?
Yes. Million of ideas for this. Yes, I am. But he said, he said that recently, and last time we spoke, that's kind of where it was left off.
Yeah.
I want to ask you if there's any update in this, but obviously I know that's a
There
delicate
is no
thing.
public
In a lot of,
update.
right. Okay.
We are still all, and I say all of us, is like me and my boss and a couple of other people at Behavior, and then Jason Blum and his team and a few other people at Atomic Monsters.
Right.
All of these people are still actively pursuing this project right now. And the goal is still to be able to, as quickly as we can, announce a writer or director or writer-director or whatever to tell people this is happening and this is who is going to be spearheading the project. So, yeah, hopefully we have an announcement to make soon.
So this is something that Blumhouse is actually currently working on right now. It still seems very early in pre-production. We know how long it can take for these things to come together. I mean, Jason Blum outright said in an interview that it took him almost 10 years to get the script together for Five Nights at Freddy's. In the same way, it seems like they're sort of taking their time with the Dead by Daylight movie and the story and finding the right people for this project. And that's really a good thing.
We are not a company that makes movies. So it is a world that we are not very familiar with. So we have a lot to learn. Fortunately, we have managed to find a great partner in Blumhouse. They know how to make movies for sure. And they certainly know how to make horror movies. So it's absolutely a good fit in that, and we trust them wholeheartedly.
I've seen a lot of really interesting theories kind of guessing what the potential storyline is that they could settle on for this film. Someone talked about the Dead by Daylight movie being similar to Cabin in the Woods and sort of a whole bunch of different monsters. Incorporating a whole multiverse of monsters and killers could be a good way to implement a lot of the Dead by Daylight lore into one single film. They did announce a long time ago that it was going to be a Dead by Daylight movie, but recently on Twitch somebody told me it'd be really interesting if they actually made it a TV series. And this would be sort of a longer form way to incorporate a lot of the Dead by Daylight killers over a longer period of time. A TV series could entail more complex stories or maybe even a different storyline every season. And in my opinion, a TV series would sort of be a better fit for Dead by Daylight because there's so many different killers and different backstories. I'm not sure if it makes sense to kind of relate all of them or to sort of be like American Horror Story in the sense where every single season is actually a different story.
Like this could turn into many, many different things, that project, but there is one thing for sure. We will never allow a bad Dead by Daylight movie to release.
Nice.
We'd much rather scrap it and not have a movie than have something that's not great.
There you go. Yeah, and that's the answer.
But nonetheless, that's the most recent information out there in regards to Blumhouse IPs into Dead by Daylight, as well as just the Blumhouse movie as well. Really cool and really awesome as usual to see Slasher Radio asking these cool questions to Mathieu Cote. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think a Blumhouse IP could actually be in the works over there at Behavior Interactive right now for upcoming future content? Which Blumhouse IP do you think is most likely out of all of the ones that we've seen and talked about? That does it for this video. Goodbye.